Now that we know a little bit about percents and percentages, we're going to take a look at some applications. The first thing we're going to take a look at is a pretty standard equation type form when we're dealing with percentages. So standard or normal would be like, what number is 6% of 90? Okay, so generally we're going to be reading equations that look like, or sentences that look like this, and we need to turn it into an equation. Now we're going to deal this with a couple of different things. We need to know what a couple of these words mean. You ever see what? That's what we're looking for. So that's the unknown, and we're generally going to let that be the variable. So if we see the word what, that means that's going to be a variable. Now most of the time in this class, I'm going to let it be x. If we see the word is, well, is means equals in terms of math. So if we see is, this is equals. So we're going to replace that with the equal sign. And the other word that we need to know is of. Of means multiply in math, so we're going to multiply. So basically we're just going to take a sentence like this, and we're going to replace the words with the symbols that we need. So for this, what number, that just means we're going to put an x there, is equals 6%. Now here's the tricky part. Remember, we don't use percents when we're dealing with equations or arithmetic, so we got to put that in as the decimal. Of is multiply, and then we put 90. So we replace what with the variable, is with the equals, and of with multiplication. Now what's left over, we're going to have to solve what's left, and we're going to take a look at a couple of these. So let's actually, we'll leave that as an equation. Let's try, let's do one like this. Maybe, let's see. What number is, let's do, I don't know, 12% of 20. Number's nice and easy here. So first part, let's see if you can translate this into an equation. So this is going to be a heck of a lot like our last one. So hit pause and see if you can write that as an equation. All right, let's see how you did. What number, so that's our variable, is 12%. Remember, we're putting in percentages. We got to put them in either as decimals or fractions. Most of the times decimals are easy. Of means multiply, and 20. All right, so to solve this, all we have to do is this multiplication here. So we're going to do, doesn't matter which way we line it up, 0.12 times 20. So 0 times that gives us 0. We get a 4. 2 times 1 is 2. We have a total of 2 decimal places up here, so we need to move it over twice. So x would be 2.4. So another way of saying this, we can put this back in the sentence. 2.4 is 12% of 20. All right, let's try a couple more and see how they can be rearranged. Let's do, I don't know, let's say 6 is, let's do this one first. Let's say 4% of what number? I forgot my question mark. Okay, 6 is 4% of what number? So again, do me a favor, hit pause and see if you can write this as an equation. All right, so writing this down, we got 6 is equals 4%. We have to write that as a decimal of multiplication. What number is our x? All right, so that's the equation you should have gotten. Now to solve this, since we need to get the x all by itself, since it's joined by multiplication, we need to divide both sides by 0.04. So as you can see here, that's 0.04 divided by 0.04 is just 1, so we get an x. But over here, we actually have to do this division. So let's come over to the side here. So we're having 6 divided by 0.04. Now remember the way we do division with decimals, we need to move this over 2 places to make that a whole number on the outside, so we need to move this over 2 places to make it a whole number on the inside. So when I do that, we're going to get 4 into 600. All right, now we can just start dividing. 4 goes into 6 one time. Put the 4 in, we subtract. We get 2. Bring down the next one. 4 goes into 25 times. That's 20 and 0. Bring down the next 0. You don't have to write the 2 zeros next to each other, of course. 4 goes into 0 0 times, so we get 150. So if we wanted to put this back into our sentence, 6 is 4% of 150. All right, let's do maybe one more of these, and we'll take a look at maybe a more real-world example. Let's say if we have 16 is what percent of 80? So 16 is what percent of 80? So again, hit pause real quick and see if you can write the equation. All right, let's see what you got. 16 is what percent of 80? So 16 is equals what gives us the x of is multiplication, and there's our 80. Now just like the last one, we're trying to get x alone. Since that's joined by multiplication, we're going to divide both sides by 80. That turns into a 1. Excuse me. So what do we need to do here? Well, we need to turn this into a percent. So to turn this into a percent, we got to first turn it into a decimal, and then turn the decimal into a percentage. Now, anytime we have a fraction, you do want to simplify first, and I'll show you why. Because right now we have to do 16 divided by 80. Now, we definitely could do that. That wouldn't be overly difficult to do. But if we reduce this fraction first, it'll just make the numbers a lot smaller. This will reduce to, well, 16. Let's start out here. The first thing I notice is they're both divisible by 4. Now, they may be divisible by something bigger, but let's start out by 4. If I divide the top and the bottom by 4, well, that would be 4 over 20. Well, both of those are still divisible by 4. That is 1/5. So 16 over 80 reduces to 1/5. So now we can just go 5 into 1. Notice that's a lot easier to do. The numbers are a lot smaller. So here's our decimal point. Move that up. 5 doesn't go into 1. We add the 0. 5 goes into, put too many zeros. 5 goes into 10 twice. And 0. So we end up with 0.2. However, remember, x is supposed to be a percent. So we need to write this as a percent. To do that, we move our decimal place 2 places to the right. So that is 20%. So 16 is 20% of 80. All right, so that's the first place that you're going to kind of see kind of an application here. If you're trying to find a percentage of other numbers or what percent of one number is another number, write it out as an equation. The hardest step you have to do is maybe the division here, but other than that, they're very straightforward. Let's take a look at a few real-world applications where you're going to see percentages. Let's look at there. First place we all see is sales tax. Sales tax is always given as a percentage of the original price. So to find the sales tax, it's always equal to the tax rate times the cost of the item. Now, that's just going to tell you how much tax you have to pay. That's not going to tell you what you have to pay for the item as you walk out the door. So the final price, or the total price of the item, will be the cost of the item plus the sales tax. All right, let's, again, we're all pretty familiar with this, so let's take a look at a pretty easy example. Let's say, it's supposed to be 2 letters. You buy a TV that costs $850. sales tax rate is, I don't know, let's make it easy, 10%. How much tax will you pay, and what will the final or total cost of the TV? Change the word will to is. There we go. All right, so pretty straightforward problem. You go in the store, you see a TV you want, it's $850. I made it a little bit easier. We're gonna say sales tax is 10%. So how much are we gonna end up paying in sales tax, and what's the final cost of the TV gonna be? Well, first off, for our tax, we know that's gonna be our tax rate. Our tax rate is 10%. Now remember, we gotta put that in as a decimal times the cost of the TV. So we need to do this arithmetic over to the side. So we have 850 times 0.10. So 0 times all that is 0. 1 times that, it's going to be 0.58. Since we had 2 decimals up here to start, we need to move the place over 2 places. So our sales tax will be $85. So in this case, on an $850 TV, we're going to pay $85 in tax. So the final cost, or the, what I call it, what is this L? Look like a T. So the total cost, or the total price, will be the $850 for the TV plus the $85 sales tax. So adding that together, 5 carry 1, that's at $935. So by the time you walk out of the store, they're going to charge you $935. All right, so there's something we see every day when we buy anything. There's a sales tax added on to the cost. Again, that went across there. It's weird. All right, so let's take another look at, say, retail world. We also buy things all the time that are on sale or at a discount rate. So let's come over here. Let's say if we talk about a discount rate. So basically you go into the store, you want to buy a pair of jeans and they're 25% off, right? So how do you figure out how much you're saving and then what you're actually going to pay for the item? Well, the discount will be equal to the, well, the discount rate, you know, whatever percentage you're getting off, times the cost of the item. And then the sale price will be equal to the starting cost of the item minus the discount. Again, what we would expect from our day-to-day lives. So let's take a look at an example of this. Let's say want to buy a bike that costs, let's say, $125. It's $125. But is on sale for, again, let's make it easy. Let's do 20% off. What is your discount? And what is the sale price? Basically, what do you end up paying at the end? Okay, so you go into the store, you see a bike, it's $125, but you see a sticker on it that says 20% off. So let's say they didn't do the math for you. You should be able to figure out how much you're going to save on this bike or the discount, and then what you're going to have to pay at the end. Now, again, we're making it somewhat simplistic here because, again, we have sales tax involved in this as well, but let's just take a look at this. So the first thing we want to figure out is how much discount would we get. So our discount Man, I can't write today. Our discount will be equal to the discount rate, which is 20%. Remember, we have to put that in as a decimal, times the cost of the item. So again, we need to go over to the side and write this out. So 125 times 0.2. Again, we're multiplying, getting the 0 just comes down to 0. 2 times 5 gives us 10. We carry the 1. 4, 5. 2 times 2 is 2. We had 2 decimals in up here, so we need 2 decimals in our answer. So we move it over 2 places. So our discount is $25. So we're going to save $25 on this bike. So what's our final cost going to be, or our sale price? The sale price, well, it's going to be the $125, take away our discount. So we're going to end up paying $100 for this bike. Now, of course, that's not quite right, because now we'd have to pay tax on that as well, but just purely looking at the discount. Okay, so again, another place that you are going to see percentages show up in your day-to-day life, either sales tax, excuse me, or a discount rate that you may be getting in a store. One other place that you may see, depending on what you do for a living, is something called commission. A lot of jobs, especially in sales, where you're selling merchandise for a company, you actually will make a commission. Now, a commission is basically a percentage of the total amount of stuff that you sold. It's kind of an incentive for you to sell more stuff for the company. So your commission, how much you're going to make, will be your commission rate times your sales. So let's take a look. This is a really easy example here. Let's say you work for a company. Let's say you sold, I don't know, let's say $12,000 worth of, I don't know, hats. Let's say you, I don't know, let's say we make, commissions are generally pretty low. You know, generally you don't get like a 20 or 30% commission. Let's say you make 5% commission on these sales. How much did you make? Yeah, most commission rates are generally single digit, pretty small single digits in that if you're working for a company. So let's see, so how much did we make? So our commission will be equal to our commission rate, which is 5%. Again, anytime we're putting percentages in, we're going to put them in as a decimal or a fraction, but most of the time we put them in as a decimal. And times how much our sales were. We said we had $12,000 in sales. Okay, we need to do this arithmetic off to the side. So 12,000 times 0.05. So 5 times 0 is 0, 0, 0, 0, 10. Carry the 1. 5 times 1 is 5. Add 1 is 6. All right, we need 2 decimal places over here. So we have 1. Oop, look, I made a mistake. I got too many zeros here. Let's start again. I didn't write 12,000. I wrote 120,000. Let's try again. 12,000. Okay, so again, same thing. So we get 0, 0, 0. 5 times 2 is 10. Carry the 1. 1 is 6. Now we need 2 decimal places. There you go. That's much better. So our commission here would be $600. All right, so percentages do show up in our daily life, and we've seen a couple examples that you, at least 2 that you are going to run into, and another one, depending on which career you decide to go into, that you may also see. So percentages do show up a lot, so we do need to know how to use them.